Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2 a.m. tapes. Here we share chilling stories and mysteries that come alive when the world sleeps. So turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and listen closely. Because at 2 a.m., the tapes start to speak. I was a night owl, a digital hermit, really, working freelance tech support from my apartment in Kamalgan, Palaka. My life ran on a simple fuel: stale coffee, instant noodles, and the quiet hum of my workstation. My world was lines of code, network diagnostics, and the endless labyrinth of the internet. One particularly foggy night, the kind where the river mist clung to everything outside my window, I was scanning the outer, less trafficked layers of the internet, trying to fix a friend's corrupted torrent download. That's when I found something off. It wasn't a site, not a link I could click. It was more like a raw signal, a low, pulsing frequency, barely perceptible, embedded deep inside an obscure, almost hidden file directory. The folder was strangely named feed.23hz. The name itself felt wrong, like something designed to be instinctively unsettling. My cursor hovered over it, a strange sense of dread prickling at my skin. I tried to delete it. Immediately, my entire system froze. The vibrant colors of my desktop dissolved into static. Then the screen blinked once, twice, and a terminal window opened by itself. It wasn't a standard command prompt. There was no familiar blinking cursor inviting input, no user interface. Just a live stream, black and white, grainy, like old security footage. The scene it depicted was a basement. Damp stone walls, a single bare bulb hanging precariously, casting long, distorted shadows. The air in the stream felt cold, even through the screen, and in the bottom right corner, a timestamp glowed in stark white pixels. Live, 3:23 a.m. My own clock on the wall read 2:58 a.m. I saw a figure on screen, motionless, facing the wall. It stood in the far corner, almost blending into the shadows, yet utterly distinct. Something about the way it stood made my chest tighten, a cold knot of fear. Its limbs hung too long, unnaturally elongated, like stretched rubber. Its skin looked wet, glistening faintly in the weak light, and uneven, as if covered in scales or festering sores. A primal instinct screamed at me to look away. With a shudder, I slammed my laptop shut, the click echoing too loudly in the silent room. But the moment I opened it, the screen flickered, and the stream was back. The basement, the figure, the timestamp. I swore under my breath, my hands shaking. I tried to end the task through Task Manager. No effect. I unplugged the router, plunging my apartment into digital silence. The stream persisted, ghostly, impossible. I even killed the power to my entire workstation, yanking the plug from the wall. But the laptop, now running solely on battery, defied me, its screen glowing with that horrifying black and white feed. It was beyond my control, an uninvited guest that had forced its way in. It seemed to defy the very laws of physics and network connectivity. No matter what I did, the stream came back. Always with that thing, always at 3:23 a.m., exactly, my digital clock ticking over to match the timestamp on the screen. The initial dread slowly transmuted into a chilling resignation. Over the next few nights, the exhaustion blurred the edges of reality, and I started to notice changes. The same basement from the stream was now in my dreams. Dank, damp, cold, so intensely cold that I'd wake up shivering, teeth chattering despite my thick blankets. It smelled of iron and rot, a stench that lingered in my nostrils even after I woke. And in the far corner of the dream room, that figure turned a little each night, its movements agonizingly slow, incrementally revealing itself. First, I saw the unnatural angle of its jaw, too wide, too sharp. Then its cracked, blackened fingernails, impossibly long, scraping against the stone. Then the horror that broke me, its eyes. Too many of them. Not two, but clusters, arranged irregularly, reflecting pinpricks of light in the gloom, like scattered shards of obsidian. They didn't blink, they just watched. On the seventh night, I woke up with a jolt, heart pounding like a trapped bird. My hands flew to my face, then I looked at them. There was blood under my nails, dried and dark. My feet, when I swung them off the bed, were dirty, gritty with fine soil and something else, something coarse and damp. I lived on the third floor of an old building in Kamalganpalika. There was no soil anywhere near my apartment. A cold wave of nausea washed over me. What had I done? Where had I been? The thought sent shivers down my spine. Driven by a desperate need for answers, for proof that I wasn't just losing my mind, I emptied my savings. I set up a network of hidden cameras around my apartment. Cheap security cams, but good enough to catch anything unusual. I positioned them to cover every angle, every dark corner. That night I waited. My eyes were glued to the digital clock on my workstation. As it ticked over to 3:23 a.m., every single device in my apartment glitched simultaneously. The lights flickered violently, the fridge hummed erratically. Even my phone on the nightstand vibrated with a phantom call. For a split second, all the screens in my apartment, laptop, tablet, phone, flashed with the black and white image of the basement. Then, silence. My cameras had stopped recording for that precise moment. When they resumed, the footage was chilling. It showed me getting up from my bed, moving like a sleepwalker or a puppet. My movements were fluid, deliberate, yet utterly devoid of my usual clumsy grace. I walked to my laptop, opened it. My fingers flew across the keyboard, typing commands into the terminal window, the same terminal window that had opened the stream. But I had absolutely no memory of this. My eyes in the footage were wide, unnaturally so, glazed over with a chilling blankness. My mouth moved in a whisper, silent and terrifying, repeating something I couldn't hear. The silence of my on-screen self was louder than any scream. With trembling hands, I slowed the footage down, frame by agonizing frame. I boosted the audio levels, cranked them up to maximum, hoping to catch the phantom words. And there it was, faint, raspy, a voice that was undeniably mine, yet twisted, alien. Feed must grow. We are the doorways. The words echoed in my head, a terrifying mantra. Feed must grow. What feed? What doorways? The implication was monstrous. The next night, my neighbor, an elderly woman named Miss Sharma, who lived down the hall, disappeared. Her apartment door was wide open, swinging slightly on its hinges. Lights were flickering erratically within, casting dancing shadows. Her little dog was whimpering plaintively inside. The police found no forced entry, no signs of a struggle, just an inexplicable, horrifying emptiness. I knew. I just knew. The night after that, my entire building's lights went out at exactly 3:23 a.m. The silence that followed was oppressive, broken only by my ragged breathing, and the stream changed. When power flickered back on moments later, I saw it. The laptop screen wasn't showing the basement anymore. Now, the camera was inside my apartment. The angle was unsettling from a corner I knew was empty, yet perfectly framing my bed. It was facing me, asleep, my vulnerable form sprawled unconscious. I watched, horrified, as the figure from the basement stepped into frame. From that corner I thought was empty, it shimmered into existence, slowly solidifying. It moved with an unnatural, gliding motion, soundless. It stood over my sleeping self, tilted its head, observing. Then, slowly, deliberately, it looked directly into the camera, directly into me, the waking observer. Its multiple obsidian eyes seemed to bore into my soul, cold and ancient. That night, I woke up with a scream trapped in my throat. The first thing I saw was the wall beside my bed. There, stark and terrifying, the word feed was scratched into the plaster. Deeply, violently, in my own handwriting. My nails ached, raw and sore. The nightmare was no longer contained to 3:23 a.m. The figure shows up earlier now, sometimes at 3 a.m., its shadow falling across my living room. Sometimes during the day, a faint, fleeting glimpse in my peripheral vision, a distortion in the air. Reflections no longer sync. My mirror image lags or smiles when I don't. The microwave flickers with impossible countdowns I didn't set, ticking down to an unknown zero. The walls bleed static, a faint buzzing sound, and sometimes a thin, dark fluid that smells faintly of iron. I tried to move, to escape this living nightmare. I packed my bags, found a new place miles away, hoping to leave the connection behind. But every new place I've tried has that stream. Immediately. On every device I own, the black screen, the live feed, the creature. Every night it updates. New people in its basement, new faces, young, old, terrified. Each night their section of the screen flickers, then they vanish, replaced by another blank space, and then a new face. I'm not watching anymore. I'm part of the content. I am the portal. My nightmares are their reality. My fears, their nourishment. They say the dark web hides things too disturbing for the surface. That's wrong. It doesn't just hide things. It hides the things that are alive, and they're hungry. If you ever, for any reason, see a stream called feed.23hc.ed, don't watch. Don't even glance at it. Because if you do, it starts watching back, and it will find its doorway.